Once again, this lecture is from the Sai Prema Ashram from Fiji Islands. And this morning, this ashram was officially inaugurated by the president of Fiji Islands. And we had devotees from over 12 countries representing the various foundations of Sai Global Federation of Foundations, which work on the motto of love all, serve all, where spirituality must express itself as service to society. And it was an it was a happy occasion that all the members of the foundation here and those who were watching us live from around the world participated in the official opening of this ashram. Though this ashram was built a couple of years ago, but because of the COVID pandemic and other reasons, it could not be officially opened. And now it's available, it's ready to serve the society here, to train and teach people in human values, and to create good people out of them. As we were discussing with the president over lunch, the need of the hour is to have more good people in the society. There are many great people who can do great things, but there are very few good people who want to do good things. And that goodness is real goodness. It should come from the heart, not for the sake of putting up a pretentious front or impressing someone with the good that we can do, but that goodness should truly come from the heart. And the president was telling that, yes, I have been told when I was brought up by my father told me that whatever I do, first I must think, then I must feel it in my heart, only then I must put it into action. What he meant by feeling in the heart is you must feel that what you're going to do is right. You should have the permission of your conscience. It should be in tune with your thought, word, and deed. And that is what goodness is all about. And it was such a wonderful interaction. We learned from each other about the values of Fiji Islands, about the ancient values that the people of Fiji have followed, and also how it is so similar to the Indian value system, and how all societies in the past were more or less founded on those simple basic human values of love, compassion, generosity, charity, service, sharing, caring. These were the simple human values which had kept the societies together and the world happier. But unfortunately, with the passage of time, this wonderful system of values in societies has been lost to the so called modern concepts where everybody is for themselves and their good doing good only involves them and their immediate family members, but it does not think of the whole world as their own. And that's perhaps the plight of Sri Krishna also in the last chapter when he says that first he taught this knowledge to the sun god, who taught it to the Vaswata Manu, who taught it to Ikshvaku. After that, it was lost to time because of lack of interest of the society, perhaps in this idea or in this knowledge, or lack of deserving disciples, or due to the lack of truly practicing teachers. And this knowledge was lost. Similarly, today, if we want to preserve this idea of humanness, there are three things required. One, the values themselves. Two, people who practice these values and they can teach it. And three, those who are willing to learn these values and practice it further. So this is the idea of setting up a new ashram. It's called the Center for Human Development. We all know from matter we become plants and plants become animals. Animals become human, that is development. And what should human become? Bhagavad Gita is all about that. What should you become? And how should you become? That is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. It does not just tell you what you should become after being a human. It tells you how should you become divine and what happens when you become divine. And that is the knowledge that Krishna is teaching so-called Arjuna, who is just an instrument for us all to learn this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So we learned about Karma Yoga in the third chapter. Karma Yoga is so central, so crucial to all our life and existence because we all must work. Nobody who is born on this earth can escape work. So we should know how to work in a way that it redeems us and not binds us to this world, because we know the more we work, there are consequences of work, good and bad. Then those consequences lead us to births and deaths, and then we again get into the cycle of action reaction, and this goes on forever. To break away from this cycle, we have to learn how to do our actions in the right way. That's why so much emphasis on the Karma Yoga. And at this point of time, Arjuna is still to make up his mind whether he wants to fight the battle or not. The argument is still on. Krishna is slowly convincing Arjuna and trying to give him all kinds of logic, all explanations to make him accept the idea of doing his duty with the right attitude. So still Arjuna is not convinced, because as we see in the Karma Yoga chapter, Krishna teaches him most of the people in the world have worked for the welfare of others. The good people, why do they act in this world? Not for their selfish sake, but for the sake of others, like Janaka and others. Even Krishna says, I act for the sake of the welfare of all. I have no duty whatsoever in all the three worlds. Yet I am always busy doing good to others. And that is the purpose of karma. Why should we undertake action in this world? Not for our immediate good, but for the good of all. And that is the reason why people act in this world, is what Krishna was telling in Karma Yoga chapter. And then how Jnana Karma Sanyasa Yoga, where he mentioned that how wise people behave in this world. Brahmarpadam, Brahmahavi, Brahmagno, Brahmanahutam. For them, everything is divinity. The act of worship, the act of doing something is divinity. The instrument through which it is done is divinity. The one who does is divinity. The one who receives is divinity. The doer, the enjoyer, everything is divine only. That is the idea that he was teaching, saying that when somebody attains this kind of wisdom, he is redeemed, because there is no bondage of action that comes to such a person. And he says, I have come into this world to teach this knowledge. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bharata. Whenever there is decline of this dharma, when people forget what their true duty is, when they deviate from the righteous path, I manifest myself again and again through my own power. And as we learned, he himself is the material, he himself is the instrument, he himself is the product. He himself is the doer. Like the spider that weaves the web out of its own self, lives in the web and swallows it and goes on to the next place. Likewise, this whole creation has come out of God, and God himself is there in all aspects of creation. So the Jnani sees this idea that everything is divine, in good, bad, ugly, in everything he sees only the hand of divine. That is what our Upanishads say. Pratibodha viditam matam amrutatvam hi vindate. When you see God in everything, you will attain immortality. Because there is no fear anymore. Everything is God. How can you be afraid of yourself? So you see everything as yourself, everything is divine. Therefore, there is no selfishness, no self-interest. There is no urge to hide or hoard. There is only this feeling to share and love and serve everyone, because you see yourself in everyone. And that is the idea of the Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, where with this wisdom, the jnana, that everything is divinity, the wise person goes about doing whatever he does. And Krishna praises this idea and he says, Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram hi vidyate. There is nothing greater than wisdom. This wisdom, this knowledge of self, this is the highest. There is nothing greater than that. One should try and attain this. Because once you attain this knowledge, you become peaceful at once. You don't have to struggle anymore. There is no more strife. There is no more anxiety, fear, no more delusion, no more doubts. Immediately you attain peace. Therefore, you must attain wisdom, he says. How do you attain wisdom? Go to a person who is wise. Tad viddhi paripatena, pariprashnena sevaya. Serve the wise person. Win his favor. Win his grace. And then ask all the right questions, sincere questions, and the wise person will teach you. That is the Guru Shishya Parampara. Just as Krishna, in his superconscious state, taught to the sun god, and sun god taught to the Manu, and Manu taught to the Ishwaku, and the Parampara went on. So he says you must have a good disciple also to learn this knowledge. Simply you can't teach this knowledge to just anyone, as we heard. Arjuna is now in a dilemma. He says, on one side you're telling me to fight the battle over here and go and do your duty, do it with perfection, do it without the expectation of results, all that, do it for the welfare of all. And other side he said that actually you see, this knowledge is more important than all the other things in the world. And that's where Arjuna's confusion begins again. And I hope this doubt came to you also. If we all become wise first and then engage in action, then we will be freed from all the action and reaction. But you are telling first you undertake action and reaction and you will become wise later. But that's not a nice proposal. Please bless me. Many people say, Swami, put your hand on my head. Why? He said, I just want to attain Brahma Jnana. I believe when you put your hand on my head, I'll become Brahma Jnani. I said, whoever said that? Did I say that you'll become a Brahma Jnani by my putting a hand on your head? So, no shortcuts to this. They hear the story, Ramakrishna Paramsa kicked Vivekananda, he attained Brahma Jnana. That was only momentary for a trice. You didn't stay in that state forever. It was Ramakrishna Paramsa's way of attracting Vivekananda to his fold. Nothing more than that. So that was his idea. My idea is not to give you, I can give you everything free, nutrition, health, education. Brahma Gyana, I will not give it free. You have to work for it. Because if you don't work for it, you will never know its value. You will waste it. And even if you once in a while you attain that wisdom, next day it disappears if you have not earned it with your effort. So you have to deserve it. That's what Krishna is saying. How you deserve Shraddhavan Labate Jnanam. Shraddha should be there in this, that I want to attain that wisdom. And why should I attain the wisdom? Because that is the ultimate, Krishna says. If you know that self knowledge of the self, you can act in the world with greater efficiency. Many people say, oh, those people who become engrossed in that self and that self knowledge, in the bliss of Brahman, they almost become dysfunctional. People have to carry them around. And all this happens. So I call that samadhi as not the greatest one. See, that may happen to you by virtue of your purity or your divinity. But the greatest of the yogis, the greatest of the wise jnanis are those who are constantly engaged in action, yet they are not the doers, nor they are the enjoyers. See, that is jnana karma sannyasa yoga. You're not giving up action, you're not renouncing the action. And there's no question of renouncing the fruit of action because you're not even attached to it. See, you'll renounce something when you have it, you don't even ask for it. So there's no question of renouncing or not renouncing the action or fruits of action, because you're always acting from the seat of that highest wisdom, where you don't see yourself as the doer or enjoyer. You simply see yourself as a witness, and in that wisdom, whatever happens through you as an instrument of God, divinity manifests, expresses itself through you. So you are not the doer, so nothing taints you, nothing binds you. This is the idea of Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Now Arjuna is quite a sharp disciple, you see, and he says in the next chapter, that is now the chapter 5 we are taking up, and now from Karma Yoga in 3rd chapter, Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga in the 4th chapter, we are coming to Karma Sannyasa Yoga as the 5th chapter. Seems like it's a lesser wisdom than the previous one, but there is a reason why the chapter has been named like that. See, the middle chapter was named Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. With the wisdom of the self, knowledge of the self, you must be able to renounce action and the fruits. Renounce action in the sense doership. See, that is very important. Many people may misinterpret as renounce the action itself. We should not do. No, that is not. Inaction is not permitted. Krishna says inaction is not permitted. Ma akarmana. That also should not do. We do not. You become inactive. That is not right. But you should not be the doer. How to attain that state of non-doership? We do a little and we look around. Has anybody seen us doing this good? Or can somebody acknowledge us? You know, anything that little good we do, we look for acknowledgements, a pat on the back, and somehow you want everybody to know about it. The same applies to when we do bad, we hope and pray nobody knows, because we want to raga dvesha. That is our problem. We are attracted to certain things, we are repelled by certain things. So all life goes in running towards the things that we like and running away from the things we don't like. That is what Vivekananda says. Man first creates things and then he either runs towards it or runs away from it. This is what he does all his life. So this duality does not exist for the jnani. That is the idea. Now Arjuna's question is very genuine, and he says, "Oh Krishna," in the 5th chapter, which is Karma Sannyasa Yoga, Krishna wants to dispel this ignorance of Arjuna, that acting for the sake of duty and renouncing the fruits of action because of the wisdom that you have are not different things. At the end, all this is one only. And that is the question Arjuna is asking now. He says, Sanyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha shansasi yachayam etayorekam tanme vruhi sunishchitam. Krishna, please tell me clearly once for all, please. You keep coming up with new concepts and you're kind of confusing me. That's what it sounds like. He says, you mentioned just now, this sannyasa is better than karma yoga. Karma yoga means do actions for the sake of action and give up the results. And sannyasa here, when he mentions, it is not truly, it is jnana karma sannyasa he's mentioning over here. Jnana karma sannyasa means naturally you become a sannyasi or renunciate out of the wisdom that you have developed. So he's saying, should I follow the path of wisdom, jnana, so that I become jnana karma sannyasi? Or you are telling me to follow the path of karma yoga? And both you want me to do. You want me to fight the battle right now, which is karma yoga. At the same time, you praise that if you become wise, then it is much better. Then all your actions don't bind you. But Arjuna knows, I'm not wise, I'm otherwise. So I have to I have to know which is the better path. Should he become Jnani first? And then we'll come and fight the battle. Let us pack and leave. See, all the time that is going on in Arjuna is how to escape this battle. So he's almost telling him, you has just now praised all these jnana. Become a wise person, then nothing binds you. Now, on the other side, you tell me, no, you can't run away from the battlefield. You have to fight the battle now and here. Not tomorrow, day after. You can't postpone it. So tell me clearly which one is the greater one. And Krishna knows his doubts. And he says, Krishna Shri Bhagavanu Vacha, Sanyasa Karma Yogascha Nishreyasa Karav Bhav Tayostu Karma Sanyasat Karma Yogo Vishishyate. See, what should be the answer you think Krishna should give? Yeah, why wisdom is better. Let's all go and pack up everything, go to Himalayas and sit and meditate. And when we become Gyanis, we'll come back and fight the battle. Anyway, all this is Maya. How does it matter? No, Krishna says both are right paths only. You take to the path of wisdom first or they take to the path of action, both are right. Both will take you to the same destination. Though paths are different, they'll take you ultimately to the same destination, not on the way. Your milestones may be different, but your ultimate goal or destination is the same. So, amongst the two, I think Krishna's opinion, he says that amongst the two, Karma Yoga is better. Oh, imagine Arjuna's plight. I thought, now I can catch Krishna and say, Jnana is better, let us go. Amongst the two, Karma Yoga is better, he says, than the Jnana Yoga. Means when he says here Sanyasa Yoga, he actually means Jnana Yoga or Sankhya Yoga, which is the previous chapter, Jnana Karma Sanyasa, the wisdom. So he says the path of wisdom is Jnana Yoga is good, Karma Yoga is also good, but amongst the two, I prefer Karma Yoga. And now we're back to square one. So Arjuna's, okay, I have to fight the battle. There's nothing doing. No? You have, when long time when Ford was building cars, first cars came out, he said, we give you all color choices as long as it is black. So, you have no choice. It's called Hobson's choice. You have no choice. You have to fight the battle. I'll give you all the choices as long as the choice is to fight the battle. Now, all Krishna is trying to teach Arjuna is how to fight the battle with what attitude, how to do it right. You can do it, but how to do it right. So he says like this. Now, before we get into more depth of this chapter, you must understand that what prohibits us from realizing our divinity. We all know divine is within Sarva Bhuta Antaratma. Krishna himself says, the one who sees me in all. I am the heart of everybody. The one who knows that he's a Jnani. Heart of everybody means his own heart also. So what is that which prevents us from seeing that divinity within? So our scriptures say there are three things, Mala, Vikshepa and Avarna. The Vedantic philosophy. Mala means impurity. Vikshepa means distractions, disturbances. And Avarna is like a veil, a cover. Think of the example of a mirror. So you want to go and see your face in the mirror, but the mirror is covered with a lot of dust and dirt. You can't see it. That is Mala. Now clean up the dust and dirt, but the mirror is shaky. No, it is moving. Then you can't see your reflection correctly. So that is the disturbance or Vikshepa. So you have to steady the mirror to see your face. And if the mirror is covered by a cloth, you can't see yourself either. So you have to remove the cover and then you can see your face and do all the makeup that you want to do. So these three things are the ones which come in our way in realizing our divinity. Mala is impurities. To me, impurities are selfishness. I and mine is the impurity that we suffer from. The moment we get rid of these two, we are better. But then impurity is not enough. Mind should be steady also. Because mind can get distracted. And all the time your mind is quite at peace. But the moment you decide to meditate, that is when the mind is not willing to sit even for 10 minutes. It goes everywhere. At that moment only it goes everywhere. Don't meditate, you're quite peaceful. Try to meditate, the mind resists. All the thoughts that you say don't want to have, they will all appear at that moment. Like children, in our hostel. Don't go to that corner. Precisely, they'll go to that corner the next moment. So we have to use a strategy. Where you want them to go, don't go to classroom. Everybody should go to playground. Then nobody should go. No, I'm just joking, but that's how mind is. It will just do the other way. So that Vikshepa, disturbed mind cannot focus on divinity. And third is a mind which is covered by this body consciousness. I'm this body, I'm this body, I'm this body. Dehabhimana. That's yesterday also he told. This wisdom has to be like a sword which destroys the ignorance within us. Dehabhimana, Pashena. We have been bound by this body consciousness for a long time, says Ashtavakra. So Bodhoham Jnana Khadgena Tan Nishkritya Sukhi Bhava. Cut it away with the wisdom that I am that. Know that that is like a sword which cuts it asunder. So that is the idea. So these are the three things. Now, three problems and three remedies are also provided by our scriptures. Mala, the impurity that we have to remove. What is the impurity? I just said selfishness. So what should be its antidote? Selflessness. So all your actions, thought, word, and deed should become selfless. That will help you to purify your mind. A purified mind which does not have too many thoughts, it is a better mind, it is more stable mind. So the next problem is vikshepa, which is disturbances and distractions, not a steady mind, unsteady mind. So what is that? For that, meditation has been proposed. So you have to learn to focus your mind. Thoughts go here and there, bring them back again and again and again to the same thought, either a form or a name or an idea. You bring it continuously back to that. That is called upasana. We don't call it bhakti in Vedanta, we call it as upasana in our Vedas. So keep bringing the thoughts back, and one pointed focus, concentration is required. We know Ashtanga Yoga is the Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, like that. So you bring that back again and again to the same focus point. But only a pure mind is capable of focusing. An impure mind is always distracted with something or the other. So that is the second thing, so upasana. And the third problem is avarana, the veil, the body consciousness. So what is the solution for that? Jnana, they say. This wisdom that I am Atman, I am not the body. That is the third thing. So these three parts are always there, but they have their own reasons why they are. And Shankaracharya very nicely summarizes the whole thing. He says, Karmani Chitya Shuddhyartham Ekagryaartham Upasana Mokshartham Brahma Vidyayam iti Vedanta Dindima. For purification of mind, the first problem, Mala, do actions which are selfless. This is his solution. After your mind is a little pure, you are able to meditate better. Then now start meditating to steady your mind. Meditation, upasana, ekagriyatham, for concentration. You must meditate. You have 100 things to going on. Now focus on one form and name. That is meditation, that is upasana. You like one form of God, you become a devotee, or you like one thought, aham brahma sarvam brahma. Go on meditating on that. So you focus your mind onto that. That is upasana. But for moksha, which is the ultimate goal, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, you must practice jnana yoga, atma vichara. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Am I the body? Am I the mind? But they change, they come and go. But Atman is always the same, should not change. So you go on analyzing like this, and slowly you start realizing the truth that you are the self which is unchangeable, indestructible, and not the body and mind, which keep changing. So this is what the wisdom ultimately you must attain, and that is moksha. But to attain that, you must go through this process. How can you sit and meditate on the thought that I am divine? To develop that wisdom, if your mind is so distracted, so upasana is required, meditation practices are required. How to meditate when your ugly thoughts are going on in your head? So purify your mind first, remove unnecessary unwanted thoughts. Therefore, for that, engage in action. Now, why do I keep our people so busy morning till evening? For purification of their mind. Chittasya shuddhaye karma na tu vastu palabdhaye vastu siddhi vicharena na kinchit karma kotibhi viveka chudamani. Shankaracharya says, the only way to attain moksha is through Atma Vichara. By doing crores of activities, you cannot attain moksha. Then again back to this. That's what Arjuna is saying. So let me go and meditate and become jnani, and then I'll come back and fight the war. But is he ready? Arjuna, is Arjuna ready? Has his purity of mind been attained? Is he able to still stay steady? Just now, 3 chapters behind, he was telling, my throat is drying, my hands are shivering, I can't think properly, I don't know what to do. Is his mind pure if he cannot see good and what is right and what is wrong? So he's not ready. So many people tell me also, please bless us with Brahmagyana. How do I bless you with Brahmagyana? I always say, if a high voltage current passes through a low capacity wire, it will burn the entire place. Or if a pot which is not yet fully baked and kind of become totally dry, if you pour water into it untimely, earlier than it can hold, it will break into pieces. Likewise, Brahmagyana cannot just happen to you if you're not capable of handling it. What is the capacity to handle it? Your mind should become pure and steady. That is the capacity to handle Brahmagyana. If your mind is not pure and steady, you cannot handle Brahmagyana. Many people lose their mind. We have seen people who go for this path of heavy austerities and they want to attain wisdom, but they are not totally prepared and they go mad. It happens. They develop lot kind of sicknesses, all kinds of mental, get deranged. It all happens because they are not ready for it. So you must have the patience in spirituality. That's what I was saying yesterday. Somebody asked, I was telling, see, for getting a university degree, you have the patience to study continuously for 15 years from your first class till degree. But for getting Brahma Jnana, you want it in there 20 minutes of meditation or one visit to Muddenhalli. All these are the wrong conditions we put in front of God. This is not, you must come as a sincere disciple, Shraddhavan, put your efforts, Tatparaha, Samyatendriyaha. Your senses should be under control, your mind should be under control, you should be ready and eager. Then Brahma Jnana will come to you. So this is the idea. Like Shirdi Baba, one man comes, a rich man, he wants to attain Brahma Jnana. Brahma Jnana, I want Brahma Jnana. Shirdi Baba needs 5 rupees. He says, please go and ask Nandu if he's having 5 rupees. We ask Shama if he has 5 rupees. This fellow is sitting there, but not willing to take out one note and give him. At the end, you have Brahma Jnana in your pocket, he says. Shirdi Baba teases him. You don't want to give up anything and you want Brahma Jnana. How is it possible? So that is the idea, that Arjuna is to be ready. So now Krishna is saying, yes, there are two paths. Path of wisdom, where people renounce all the activities, become monks, roam around without any obligations whatsoever, and their only focus is to think of God. That is one path. We all know that a lot of saints and sages have done that. On the other side, there is the regular path. You become a brahmachari, the student, then you become the grahastha, householder, then you become a vanaprastha, forest dweller, or a hermit, and then you become sannyasi, which is a renunciate. Everybody has to become sannyasi. That is the final step. But our scriptures allow you to become sannyasi even early if you are ready for that. Like Shankaracharya sought the permission of his mother and embraced sannyasa at the 8th year. Or like Vivekananda took sannyasa. So many people have taken sannyasa, but they were ready for it. And that readiness came bahuni me vatitani, janmani tavacharjuna. From many births of readiness is that. Not in this birth, just like that. So that readiness, who knows? Guru knows. So don't pester Guru unnecessarily. He knows. So you do what he has asked you to do, and he will guide you and give you what you deserve at the right time. So that is the idea. Krishna is the Guru here. And Arjuna is the Shishya, disciples. Krishna is gradually teaching Arjuna. Yes, two paths are there. Wisdom path looks very attractive, but to me, Karma Yoga path is better. Better for everybody who has not yet reached the readiness. The one who is ready, for him, it doesn't matter what work he does or doesn't do. But for those who are in the duality still, we can't talk about non-dual ideas. Many people say like that. They are living a dual life, but they talk about non-dual Advaita philosophy as per their convenience. That should not happen. So now you understand there are 3 paths: karma, upasana, and jnana. Here he is talking about jnana and karma. Between the two, which one is better? Krishna says karma is better. Karma yoga is better. Why? Because he goes on to say, because in the karma yoga path, the purification of mind is most important. Without that, we can't proceed further. Now you have to go to Singapore, let's say. We are going to go to the Nandi airport. From there, we'll take a flight to Singapore. Now, if you tell me how to go to Singapore, I'll tell take a taxi to Nandi. From Nandi, you take a flight to Singapore. Right? So should I take the taxi or the flight? You have to take both, but one after the other. That is the idea. Take karma yoga, purify your mind, do selfless service. That's why I insist everybody should serve. 24/7 they should serve, but selflessly. And these organizations provide you such a wonderful opportunity on a platter. Somebody who's working for a corporate or life somewhere, how selfless can he become? Tell me. How easy it is. If he becomes a jnani, everything is okay. But if to attain that jnana, how to lead a selfless life? Everywhere there is selfishness. So these organizations are beautiful creations of opportunities for everyone. That is the idea. So he says, we'll take the karma marga right now, karma yoga right now. That is the idea. And Krishna tries to dispel this idea that sannyasis are sannyasis, they don't do any action. And karma yogis are karma yogis, they're fully busy doing actions. Krishna wants to clarify that at the end, they are not two different things. Even sannyasis are busy doing something. What they're doing, they're spreading the good word. He is a rich man. who gave up all his wealth and took it to Nam Sankirtana as his life's goal, roaming in the streets. Somebody asked, what do you do? Nothing. Lazy man, young man with children and wife, you have no responsibility. You roam around like this. He said, no, I'm not just wasting my time. I have taken upon myself the responsibility of spreading the name of the Lord and inspiring devotion in the hearts of men and women. That is my job that I have taken as a dasa, as a servant of the Lord. So that is also a job. So nobody escapes action. Even a sannyasi is acting in some way or the other. Only a person of wisdom who's realized this self is free from all the action. Even though he does action, nothing is done by him. The one who sees inaction, inaction, and action, inaction. That is what is the last chapter. So Krishna is saying in the third shloka, Geyam sa nitya sannyasi yona dveshti na kankshati nirdvando hi mahabhavo sukham bandhat pramuchyate. He says, know that he alone is the true sannyasi. Sannyasi doesn't mean wear the ochre robe, shave off your head and take kamandalu mala and roam the streets or run away to Himalaya, sit in a cave. No, have no child and family. No, he says true sannyasi, nitya sannyasi. So at all times is detached. Who is that? Na dveshti na kankshati, who does not hate anybody, does not desire for anything. He is a true sannyasi. Nirdvando, he is free from duality, likes and dislikes, good, bad, success, failure, all the dualities, because the world is about duality. So he is beyond all the dualities of the world. Such a person easily gets rid of all the bondages. He is a true sannyasi. It means even if you are a sannyasi and you have not developed this, sannyasi means the one who is wearing an ochre robe and taken to this path. But he is not having this, then how is he going to be called as true sannyasi? So true nitya sannyasi is the one who's beyond duality. So can that be a person of grihastha? Yes, because mind-wise he's already given up. Janaka. Janaka is a king, father of many children, and a wife. He has a wife, he has a kingdom to rule. But in his mind, he becomes sannyasi. Why? Because he's not attached to anything, anyone. That is the idea of guna sannyasa, it's called. Not karma sannyasa, guna sannyasa. Your mind should become a sannyasi mind. Body can continue with whatever activity you're doing. So Krishna is a yogi, despite having so many wives and children and all that. He's absolutely in control of mind and senses. He's absolutely established in the self. He's a sannyasi. So Krishna is saying such person alone can be truly called sannyasi, who at all times is beyond dualities. Don't go by this textbook definition of sannyasi. That's what he's telling to Arjuna. The one who gives up all the actions, roams around in the forest. No. That is not the Jnana Marga. The true Jnana Marga is when your mind is gone beyond the duality of life. Then he says, Sankhya yogo pithak bala pravadanti na panditaha ekam apyastita samyak ubhayo vindate phala. He says that Sankhya yoga means this yoga of wisdom, Jnana Marga, and Karma Marga are separate things. Who says it? Bala. Immature people say it. But Panditaha, the men of wisdom, never differentiate. They say everything is okay, everything is right. But unfortunately, in the name of philosophies, spirituality, how much fight and arguments have happened. Who argues? Who knows nothing argues. The one who knows will never open his mouth and argue. What's the point? Argue with a fool. Anyway, he'll not understand what you're saying. You'll look like a fool instead, because he'll be so clever to put all kinds of logic and make you look like a fool. So better, I just do that. Buddha was there. Some stories there. Somebody comes and says, you say the world is full of misery and this and that, and give up. How can I give up the world when there's misery? He says, you say that you should not argue with a fool and things like that. If you don't argue, how will we learn and things like that? He said, yes, you're right. You don't want to debate, you don't want to argue with me and prove your point. Well, how will I learn? Yes, you're right. He leaves at that. Because no point in arguing with fools. No point in making statements. That's why I'm very careful. No arguments, no debate, no statements anywhere. Because what's the point? The one who is wise anyway understands. Needs no explanation. And the one who is otherwise, no explanation is sufficient. They'll always argue after that. So don't waste your time. So what he's saying is that those immature people think path of wisdom is separate, path of action is separate. This should not be mixed with that. This is superior, this is inferior. All this is immature thinking, Krishna is saying. The one who is truly established in that sthiti of oneness, for him, he will achieve what he needs to achieve by any path. Because for him, he has already reached that summit. He's at the summit. Others are climbing from east side, west side, south side, north side. They're having different experiences. And they call my path is better, your path is. Once you reach the summit, any path is okay. The ultimate goal is that. That's what Krishna is removing the delusion from Arjuna's mind, that don't try to prefer one over the other. For you, Karma Yoga is right. And he says, Ekam Sankhyam cha Yogam cha yah pashyati sa pashyati. The true seer, the true person who sees it right is the one who sees both as one, not separate. Established in that wisdom, one must perform actions. As one performs the action, one must establish oneself in the wisdom. It's a circle. You start from this point, you will reach the other point. You start from this point, you will reach this point. In the sense, you start, if you want to reach a point, you start from the right or the left side, you'll reach the same point. Because both lead to the same place. So he's saying that yes, wise one also realize divinity, but they continue to act in the world. And the people who act in the world with complete detachment from the fruits of action, they attain that wisdom. They also become the same. But which way to begin, you may ask? For his Arjuna, Karma Yoga is preferred because his mind is still not purified and steadied. So he needs to prepare himself through the journey of life. In Bhagavad Gita is a preparation. First 5-6 chapters go in Karma Yoga. Next 5-6 chapters go in more like a Upasana and Bhakti Yoga. And the last 6 chapters are so much about Jnana Yoga. Here also there is a slowly Krishna prepares Arjuna towards the end. So it's very clear. And then I'm not going to go to everything, but he says that in 7th shloka, Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma Vijitatma Jitendriya Sarvabhutatma Bhutatma Kurvan Napina Lipyate. Now from here, Krishna is, the chapter becomes more explanatory of the state of the mind of the person who has attained this highest wisdom and still acting in the world. So here Krishna says that the one who has become established in that yoga, how he performs action but is never attached to any of these things. He's not even thinking that he's the doer or the enjoyer of the action. Such a person is Vishuddhatma, pure of his mind. Vijitatma, he has conquered himself, means his mind and senses cannot drag him around. He has complete control over it. Remember Kathopanishad? The Atmanam Ratinam Vidhi Shariram Rathamevatu Manah Pragramheva, and all the horses are senses. So you have to control the senses. Buddhi is the Sarathi, mind is the reins, and horses are the senses, and Atma is the chariot, the one who is riding the chariot. So that is how. So he is in complete control of himself. So such a person, Jitendriya, has conquered all his senses. Sarvabhutatma Bhutatma, who sees that all the beings, the inside of all beings is one and the same. Externally we are different. But inside of all of us is Atman only. Kurvan napina lipyate. Even if he acts in the world, such a person is not bound by any action. So also not bound by the results of the action. So this is how the wise man lives. This we have heard earlier also. Most of this chapter goes on explaining the state of the mind of a wise man. But to attain this wisdom, you have to go through Karma Marga. See, that is the idea. You have to perform action selflessly. And how else he thinks? Naiva kinchit karomi iti yukto manyeta tattvavid. The one who knows the truth, he knows, I'm not doing anything. I'm not the doer of anything. Pashyan, Shunvan, Sprashan, Jignan, Ashnan, Swapan, Shwasan is a beautiful Sanskrit. What he sees, what he hears, what he touches, what he smells, where he goes, when he sleeps, when he dreams, or Pralapan, Visrajan, Grihan, Unmishan, Nimishan, Api, opening eyes, closing his eyes, speaking, accepting, discarding, in all the activities of his life. What he thinks, Indriyani Indriyartheshu Vartanta, iti dharyan. Senses are doing for their own sake. I am not doing anything. Stomach is feeling hungry. Yes, because it's hungry, it goes and eats something. Then feeling sleepy, I am tired. I have to go close my eyes closed because I am feeling body is tired. It goes to sleep. I don't go to sleep. I don't feel hungry, nor I feel satisfied or rested. The Atman does not feel any of these things. He is so firmly established in that idea that he watches his Indriyas go on performing as if he is inside. That is why I said Drigadrishya Viveka you must practice. What is Drigadrishya Viveka? Vidyaranya Swami, very beautiful. In very first look, he says, the world outside, if it is the seen, the eyes are the seer. But who sees the eye? A mind is there which sees the eye. Who sees the mind? There is Atman which sees the mind. Who sees the Atman? No one. So you go one step into yourself, and then you will see your indriyas are outside you, your mind is outside you, buddhi is outside you. You are the witness of all these things. They go on doing what they've got to do. They experience things good, bad, sweet, sour, happy, sad. All this happens in the outside. Within you, you are untouched. Vashishta Ramayana says, how is that state? Shila antarivastitihi, like the inside of a stone. How beautiful, see? Sarva Shanta Sankalpa. All your ideas, thoughts, desires have become silent. Means you don't desire for food. Hunger is a part of your natural phenomena. So you eat something. But you don't desire for it. There's no desire component. It is a part of your fulfillment of your need. But no desire or wants in that. Sanchata Sarva Sankalpa. All desires have disappeared, become silent. And how do you become Shilantarivastitihi? You become silent like the inside of a stone. Imagine the density of that silence inside a stone. I was sitting by the beach and I was watching a lot of stones have been put for the sake of protecting the land. And I look at so many waves are coming, hitting the stone and going back. Every time if the stone feels it, he says, he'll be crying because the waves are going and lashing against it. Stone is not perturbed. You may say it's a matter, how will it be perturbed? Yes, it is a matter, but I'm just trying to symbolically think of the idea of a jnani who sits like a stone. Outside him, so many things are happening. Waves are lashing against it, sun is shining, it's becoming hot, it's becoming cold. But inside, nothing happens. So the Vashishta Jadyan Vidya Nidra Vinurmuktaha Sa Swaswarupa Sthiti Smritaha. You can become like that also when you're in deep sleep after a nice good lunch or a breakfast and in the maths class or whichever class, including Paravidya class, unfortunately. You can reach that inside of a stone sthiti. People can kick you, people can shake you, but you won't wake up. Or you're drunk, lost all your senses and moorings, lying in some corner. Nobody knows day and night where. Do what you want. Even then you can reach this state. But he says very clever, this shloka says, Jadya Nidra Vinurmukta. Should be free from laziness, inertia, or deep sleep. And still be silent like a stone. Then you have reached the true state of yourself. That Saswarupa. That is your true self. Absolutely calm and silent. Outside everything goes on. Inside nothing happens. Antarvikalpa shunyasa bahi swachanda charina. Inside there are no thoughts. Outside there is tremendous activity. Swachanda means free. You are freely moving around. But inside you, nothing is happening. Part of it is steady, part of it is moving. How beautiful the concept of Atman and the Indriyas are. Indriyas are going on running around. Atman remains at the steady in the center. Like the axle of the wheel. Center remains steady, the wheel turns up. So that is the sthiti that you must talk. So this person thinks all the Indriyas are doing their own job. They're meant to do, eyes are meant to see, ears are meant to hear. They're going about doing their job. I am here steady. That is the idea of this jnani. So these shlokas are all mostly the explanation. And how does that he become? He becomes like the lotus leaf in water because of the wisdom. So what he stays in water, but the water cannot stay on the leaf. Like coat of the lotus leaf, it has got a little waxy coat. So water doesn't stay on it. If water starts staying on it, leaf will get destroyed. So he stays in the world, but world does not stay on him. That's why it's a boat in the ocean, but ocean is not, water should not come inside the boat. You enjoy the world should not enjoy you. Be careful. That is the idea. The one who has completely dedicated himself, Brahman Adaya, everything is dedicated to that idea of Brahman. Such a person is like the lotus leaf, never affected by all the water that is around, inside, above, below, nothing. All let everything happen around him. He remains steady. And what he says, Kayena Manasa Buddhya Kevala Indriyairapi Yogina Karma Kurvanti Sangam Tyaktva Atma Shuddhaya. Why should he still act in the world? To maintain his purity. His body, Kaya, Manasa, his mind, Buddhya, intellect, Keval Indriyairapi, all the senses. Yogina Karma Kurvanti. The real yogi works in the world. Sangam Tattva, without attachment. For what? Atma Shuddhaya, to keep himself pure. So he's telling Arjuna, you have to develop purity. How do you become purity? You do karma yoga. How? Body, mind, intellect, indriyas, all these you should be put into action, but without any attachment. That will purify your mind. Once your mind is purified, that wisdom will dawn on its own. Yesterday we said, if you're ready, Guru comes. If you're really ready, Guru disappears. So real readiness is when your inside itself tells you what to do. You become continuously in touch with your divinity, and nobody needs to tell you what to do, what not to do. That's the state you must achieve. He says, Yukta karma phalam tyakta shanti apnoti neshtikam. The one who attains this kind of a perfection in his duties, in delivering, such a person immediately attains peace. Because he has attained the idea that I'm not the doer. He is not attached to the results. He's just doing for the sake of keeping himself pure, selfless actions. But ayukta kamakarena phale sakto nibadhyate. But the one who's not ready, who's not capable of this, ayuktaha, what does he do? He because of desire for fruits of actions, he gets bound by actions. So lower desire should be replaced with a higher desire in the first place. Then there should not be any desire. Desirelessly, by divine will, things should happen. So if you must say, I have a desire to do good to the world. That desire, at least not a desire, it's my nature. You can't say river has a desire to reach the ocean. That is not his river's desire, that is his nature. So good people's nature is to do good. So think like that. Out of my nature, I have to do good. Your nature is to do good. That is what I was telling in the morning. Our basic nature is to do good. It's not an option to do good. It's the very nature, very obligation to do good in this world. It's how we should live. There is no other way to live. This is how one should live in the world. So that is the idea that ayukta cannot, the one who is not ready, you cannot rest. Ready, steady, then go. So readiness is purity of mind, steadiness is stability of mind. Then go, then comes the wisdom. So that is what he is treating Arjuna. All the other shlokas are on similar tone or similar thing. Next, this one I will take up 14. Where Krishna says very big secret here. He says, na kartatvam na karmani lokasya srujati prabhu na karma phala sanyogam swabhavastu pravartate. See, I don't create action in this world, nor I create doership in this world. Don't blame me. You created the world. Many people blame. Had you kept quiet and not created this world, all this mess would not have been there. See, this God should not have created this world. First he creates the world, then all the mess happens. Then he comes, struggles to set everything right. What is the point? Don't create the world, don't have mess, don't have problems at all. The journal is a medical journal, and that I was reading about the incidence of congenital heart diseases in the world. And they concluded that the largest number of cases happen in poor countries where the social development index is low. It means basic amenities, income, access to education, all this is very low. That is poorer countries, and fertility rate is high. Many children, many people are born. So what is the solution to reducing the congenital heart disease burden in the world is, they're saying, if you reduce the fertility of people, then less children will be born. So naturally, the probability of children having congenital heart disease will be less. What a solution from a scientific journal. They're not talking about improving the social development index, giving access to nutrition, education, health. They're saying, if you reduce the overall fertility rate, in the sense everybody produces less children, we'll have less children born with heart diseases. How to reduce poverty? Kill all the poor. There are no poor, there is no poverty. What kind of solution? That is not the solution at all. You must learn how to deal with the problem. You created the world. It's such a mess. You shouldn't have created the mind. Everybody should have been pure. Why all this mess? And now you come and take Bhagavad Gita classes, and that also we have to go through. And then you tell us, show me whether you're improving or not. Why go through this whole game? Krishna says, I have not created any action in the world, nor I have created the doership. None of this is my doing. I am Atman. So what is it? Na karma phala sanyogam. Also I have not created the results of the action and the consequences thereafter. Nothing of this. Swabhavastu pravartate. Because of your own nature, you behave and you experience the world as you experience. It's your nature that makes you behave the way you behave. Remember in the previous chapter we learned Prakrite Kriyamani Gunai Karmani Sarvashaha. All the gunas are there. We are born, we develop some instincts, some ideas, some qualities because of the associations we keep, the books we read, the things we watch, the friendships we keep, and we become like that. And then we undertake actions, then there are reactions, then we experience it as good and bad, and then complain to God. Krishna says, see, neither I have created actions for you, nor I have created the results of actions for you, nor I have created any of these experiences for you. You have created it for yourself. See, we all live in the same world, but all our worlds are different. How I see the world versus how you see the world, how he sees or she sees. It's a different world. Each lives in a different world of its own in this whole world. I see things differently, you see things differently, right? A child sees this world differently. A politician sees this differently. A military man sees this differently. A thief sees this differently. A jnani sees this differently. Everybody in the same world, but everybody has their own worlds. Who created these worlds? They themselves, their minds have created these worlds. Because their dispositions, their inclinations, which has been developed by them through various years of births of association with kinds of people. That's why it's keep good company. Keep good company is the first step in spirituality. Satsangatva nisangatvam. Start with satsanga. Push yourself to go to good company. Your mind will tell, let's go and have a party. But you must tell your mind, you should do your discrimination. No, that's not going to lead us to any happiness. Let's attend a satsanga. You'll learn something nice. That is how you have to train yourself. So it says that all this has been created, and the next one is very important. Here, Krishna is simply absolving himself of all the responsibility of whatever people experience. He says, Nadatte kasyachit papam nachaiva sukritam vibhu agyanena amritam jnanam tena mujyanti jantavaha. I don't give any merits or sins to anybody. People think because of ignorance and they get deluded. I neither give you sins, I don't give you rewards, nor I give you punishments. This is what I was telling in the morning. God's job is not to sit here like an accountant. We have a projection like Yama sits with Chitragupta. Chitragupta is the perennial accountant who keeps track of all our activities and then tells Yama how many whips, how many. No, that is not God's job. At least in the highest, purest state as Brahman, that's not his job. So he's saying, I'm not giving you merits and sins. Don't blame it tomorrow. You told me to fight the war. No, I am getting the sin of it. No, if you had fought with the right attitude, there was no sin and merit anyways. You don't understand how to do things and then you get stuck. Then you blame me for everything. That's not true. I don't give merit and sin. So somebody asked me a question. So when we pray that you should come and interfere and intervene in our problems, you sometimes you do that, right? You come and guide us. You tell us, either come in a dream or tell us physically or some way you indicate. You help us in our situations. What is that? Are you not interfering? You're saying I don't interfere with anything. Your good is your good, your bad is your bad. I don't care. I'm not involved in it. I'm free. Wash off his hands. But he says, but you come and help and things like that. What is that then? I said, yes, if you pray to me and ask for help, like a good teacher, I will come and help the student. Not in the examination hall, but before. In your classroom, you're not getting something right. You want some help with your homework, I'll help you. Like parents will help you. Like a good friend will help you. I will help you to learn if you're sincere. I will not do your homework. I will not write your exams. But I will help you to write your exams in the sense I will teach you. To that extent, I interfere. Beyond that, I don't interfere. If you pray to God, He will come. But many times we don't want to pray to God. See, Dharmaraja was there. He was invited by Duryodhana for a game of dice. Dharmaraja very much knew that this Duryodhana is not a nice fellow. How much ever he tells, I have changed, I have transformed, I have become a good boy. It's not true. Yet this Dharmaraja went there. Why? Because he felt I have become a king. All kings have this special privilege to gamble with each other. That was in those days a kingly thing to do. And it's a prestige thing for them. It's a status thing for them. So Dharmaraja felt it's a status symbol to go and play a game of dice or gamble with Duryodhana. Like, I am also king. I have plenty of wealth to let us see. And what happens? He loses everything. So much so that he loses his wife also, Draupadi. And she is put in the middle of the court, such embarrassment. And there is Dushasana pulling her sari and she's crying out for help. Nobody can help. The Kauravas, elders cannot help. The Pandavas, who are husbands, cannot help. She herself cannot help herself. She is not strong enough. She prays to Krishna. Krishna helped. Did Krishna interfere or not? He did interfere in the whole thing. He helped her. Had Dharmaraja prayed to Krishna before going to the game of gambling, that Krishna, what do you think? Should I go or not? What would have been Krishna's answer? Hey, Dharmaraja, what happened to you? Don't you know what kind of people they are? That Shakuni is sitting on the other side. He's a cunning man. He'll play all foul and he will make you lose. Don't even try. Be here. Forget your kingdom and kingship. All this is separate, but don't go and play gambling. But Dharmaraja never consulted Krishna. Same thing we do so many times when we are tempted to do something very badly. Something inside tells, ask that Krishna within. Ask with this. No, I'm fine with it. Then get into all the trouble. Where were you, God, when I was getting into trouble? Are you not supposed to look after me? Are you not supposed to take care of me? Okay? So this is what I'm saying. Na datte kasyachit papam na jaiva sukritam vibhu. Lord does not distribute papa punya to people. It is their own doing. But they want to find somebody to blame it on later. And who is the best to blame? God. So that's how we blame God all the time for bad. Of course, we praise God for good also. But He's neither interested in your praise nor interested in your blames. Both are your own making. As long as you are Ajnani, this is what will be happening to you. A Jnani will accept both as God's grace. Why Jnani has no problem. I was telling one beautiful bhajan is there, Kabir Das bhajan. This woman has to go every day and fill a pot of water and come from the river. One day the pot cracks and breaks. What should be the reaction? Ayyo, my pot is broken. Now what will I do? Her reaction is good riddance. This pot is broken, no more filling water every day. भला हुआ मेरी मटकी फूटी मैं पनिया भरन से छूटी मेरे सर से टली बला. That is the Kabir Das. भला हुआ मेरी माला टूटी मैं राम भजन से छूटी मेरे सर से टली. Good that my mala has broken, my rosary beads have broken. Now no more I have to chant this name of Rama. In the sense, no more I have to get into these rituals to realize God. No more of this body consciousness, which is in the form of the pot, and suffering with this body conscious every day, trying to satisfy the urges of the body. Good riddance once for all. So the reaction of a yogi or a sannyasi or a true sannyasi or a true karma yogi is what when difficulties come and something goes out of hand, good riddance. Maybe it was not meant for me. It was simply dragging too much of my time and energy. It was taking away. Who knows, there might be something positive. They will see positive in everything. Whether Ajnanis will blame. So Krishna says, see, don't blame me for anything. I am teaching you everything. Based on which, if you take a decision and do the thing in the right way, you will experience good things. If you don't, you experience bad things. Both are your own making. I am not interfering with any of it. So that is very, very important. So what happens? Jnanena tu tadagyanam yesham nashitamatmanah tesham adityavajnanam prakashayati tattaram. So the one who has developed this wisdom, his ignorance is destroyed in the same way as when sun rises, all the darkness is destroyed. When the sun rises, all the darkness is destroyed. At once. Does it get destroyed one after the other? Everything is visible at once. That is what Achirena Tadi Gacchati. Immediately you attain peace. You don't attain peace step by step. Immediate peace when you have that wisdom, jnana. Like sun when it rises, everything is visible at once. Not one after the other. Same way, if the jnani, once he attains this wisdom, for him everything becomes so clear. No more delusions, no more doubts, no more illusions. That is the beauty of jnana. That's why again he's telling jnana is important. But what he's trying to say, this jnana can be attained through purification of mind. And purification of mind can be attained through selfless action. Not for the sake of results, but sake of discharging one's duty. That's it you do, selflessly. So what kind of people, again it goes on to explain. I'm not going to go on repeating this thing, but this is another 18 shloka is important. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastini Shuni Chaiva Shwapake Cha Pandita Samadarshina. Who is a true Pandita who sees who sees equality everywhere, who sees sameness everywhere? Where he is Vidya Vinaya Sampanna, he is wise and also humble. Vidya Dadati Vinayam. If he's really wise, he'll be humble. Only if otherwise people are arrogant. Wise people are always humble. That is the hallmark of greatness, hallmark of wisdom, is humility. That is what say Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. Those people who are like that, what they say in the Brahmins means the noble ones, in the cow, in the elephant, in the dog, and even those who eat dogs. It means people of a certain class, not so cultured and refined. In everyone, he sees the same thing, same oneness. He is a Pandita. That is a very beautiful definition. Pandita Samadarshinaha. Who is a Pandita means who is a man of wisdom? Samadarshina, who sees equalness or sameness everywhere. This is an important shloka, many people quote it. The idea is that that person sees the Atman. He doesn't see the external things. That's why when, see, we have such a huge organization. And we have workers like sweepers or even watchmen, and we also have vice chancellors and directors. I go and meet everybody with same love. In darshan, everybody has equal rights on me. If a watchman's child gets up and asks for a chocolate, I'll give the child also with the same love as the child of a minister who would come. Why? Because I'm not seeing him as a child of a watchman or child of a minister. I'm only seeing him as a child who deserves love and attention. I'm seeing the childhood in him, not whose child is. Like that, this yogi sees the Atman in everything, in everyone, does not see the external differences. Therefore, he is equal minded with all. He doesn't differentiate. For the sake of worldly interaction, you must give respect to certain people for certain reasons. But within yourself, you should not feel any differences. Externally, you have to perform your action. So that is the idea. Pandita Samadarshina. Now you don't say, what is it in examination? This is a dog. No, that's the picture of an elephant. Bhagavad Gita. Dog, elephant, Allah, unde. Everything is same. He'll say yes. One big zero. But this is zero, zero, one, two, everything same. Wrong usage of Bhagavad Gita should not happen. Amadarshana should be within. Externally, you have to still behave according to people's position, status, or various responsibilities. You have to talk to them and behave accordingly. Within you, you should not feel differences. Within you, you should feel love only. Beauty is that the one who experienced this, he is Brahman here and now. That is what Krishna is going to tell. He says, Ihaiva tayarjitah sargo yesham samye stitam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmat brahmani te stitaha. The one in this world itself, you don't have to go another world to realize this. In this world, who has developed this kind of mind, sthitam manaha, steady and pure and clear and wise, that mind, nirdoshami samam brahma, he becomes as sinless as Brahman himself. Tatmat brahmani te sthita, and therefore they're always established in this Brahman sthiti. You don't have to go and become Brahman by going to another place. Here and now, the one who develops this kind of mind, who sees equality everywhere, equalness, my equal mind, who has no dualities, who has no ragadvesha, who is pure in his mind. Such a person is Brahman here and now. That is why I say, in only our Sanatana Dharma says you can become God. All others will call it blasphemous. No. Even, of course, in a Sanatana Dharma also, there are various ways of becoming God. Moksha is defined differently in Vishishtadvaita and Dvaita in various schools of thoughts. But the school of thought that we subscribe to, Advaita, it says you are divine as you are. You don't know. That's all is the difference. Once you know you are divine, how do you know? Your mind becomes pure, clear, steady. You know you're divine. It is so important that he says, as an encouragement to us. The Bhagavad Gita, though it's a story between Krishna and Arjuna, so to say there is Dvaita, but Krishna is always about Advaita. I am only in all, he says. So such a person, what happens? Na prasheti priyam prapya, no jijate prapya cha apriyam. He doesn't get excited when he receives favorable results. And he doesn't get agitated when he gets unfavorable results. Unfavorable means what should have ideally been there. He accepts both. Saying, okay, whichever way it has come. Like the real devotee, let me tell you, like somebody was fell from a bike, broke his toe. What is his message to me? Where were you when I was falling from the bike? No. His message is, thank you, Swami, for reducing the calamity to just a fracture in my toe and saving my head from splitting into two. See his attitude. That is the attitude of a devotee, a jnani. Yes, something bigger has been averted. And something, God has given me some small, simple pain and taken away a bigger calamity. That's the right attitude, right? So these people are like that. Sthira buddhi asammudho. They are complete sthira. They're steady. Every situation they are the same. They don't get affected. And they don't get deflected and distracted by things like that. Brahmavid brahmani sthitihi. Again, Brahmaveda brahmaiva bhavati. Mundakopanishad says. Same Brahmavid brahmani sthitihi. Knowing Brahman, he is established in the sthiti of Brahman. That is the idea of our Upanishads, our Gita, our scriptures. You can be God here and now. Don't have to wait. But provided there is one condition, purity. Purity is required. Now, what is purity? Selflessness is purity. Develop complete selflessness, you become divine. There's no other criteria. But to become completely selfless and get rid of this I and mine is so difficult. Because from birth after birth, it has got accumulated in our head. Be selfless is so easy. I'm telling from my own experience, being selfless is a feeling of such lightness. You feel so unburdened. I don't want to keep anything for myself. Anything if I keep in my cupboard, I say it irritates me. It bothers me till I give it away. Unless I've forgotten about it, that's a different matter. But if I remember something, I can't keep it. Only that is a bare must necessity. I have to keep it. Even in good things, you should be equal minded. Even bad things, you should be equal minded. People praise, then they'll blame also tomorrow. In both the times, you should be equal minded. So that is the idea. Selfless life is so delightful, and you have to experience it to know what I'm saying. And who can have this selfless life? Only two people can have this selfless life. One was realize the self, realize divinity. He can be selfless. Two, a devotee who is completely surrendered to God. He can be selfless. Third person cannot be selfless. So if you can't be God, be a good devotee, a true devotee who is completely surrendered. Atmanivedanam. And then also you can lead a selfless, fearless life. Otherwise, realize your divinity, even then you will become selfless and fearless. Do one thing or the other, but don't remain selfish, because selfishness is impurity. Impurity means you can't attain wisdom. If you can't attain wisdom, your karmas will bind you, and you will be born again and again, creating more and more karmas for yourself. That is how the scriptures are giving us encouragement. And he says, these people yehi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavantah kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. 22nd shloka says, these people know these pleasures that come out of the external activities, or touch of the senses, in the sense whatever seeing, touching, smelling, tasting, eating, these pleasures are temporary. Ultimately, they give us pain only. Today it may look like a pleasure, but tomorrow you develop a craving for it and you can't get it, it becomes a pain. What is addiction after all? Somebody gives you something and then you eat it. First day it feels nice. Next day, if you don't get it, then you get restless. Imagine you were better the day before when you didn't have it and you were normal. Now you had excitement one day and next day you are depression. Then it becomes addiction. All the world is addictive. Anything is addictive. Fame is addictive, name is addictive, wealth is addictive, popularity is addictive, properties are addictive, power is addictive. It corrupts. All the worldly things are addictive in some way or the other. So one day it gives you pleasure, next day it gives you pain when you can't have it, and you can't have it all the day. So then you work towards it, you make yourself miserable, more miserable. So all these are born, all the experience of the world are temporary. They have a beginning and the adya antavantaha. They have a beginning, adya, and anta. They have beginning and end. Therefore, don't go by that. These gyanis don't go for them. What do? They do not enjoy these things at all. Enjoy means they don't put extra efforts to enjoy all these things, because that will make you miserable. Will make you miserable tomorrow. What gives you pleasure today? Remember in the second sloka, Bhagavad Gita shloka, second chapter also it says, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkeshu. All this Shita, Ushna, whatever this Matra Sparshas to Kaunteya, all because of your senses only you experience all these things. So, Agama Payino Anityam, they come and go, they are temporary. Tam Titiksha, so just bear it for the sake of bearing it. Don't get involved with them, he says. So that is the idea. And he says, Shaknoti heva yah sodhum prak sharira vimokshanat kama krodod bhavam vegam sayukta sasukhi nara. Who can be a happy person in this world? Despite all the distraction and all the things, the one who is able to control these things before he dies. Kama krodha means loba, moha, mada, matsara, whole, etc., etc. What is that kama krodha? Means these desires and anger, these kind of things which are coming. Remember, kama esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samudbhavaha. They come with great force. Your desires and your anger, they come with temptations, come with great force. So one who's able to control that, that person alone is happy. And when should he control it? Before he leaves the body, he should be capable of controlling this. Otherwise, people at the deathbed also are thinking of pleasures. And they don't want to die also. Why? Because who knows, if I live some more time, I can go to 2 more countries and eat something nice and see something nice, experience something nice. They're not willing to leave. Why? Because still desires are left. That is what our Bhartrihari says. Krishnana jirna, vayameva jirna. We become old and we become weak. Our desires never become old. Desires are same, fresh and strong even in the last moment. That is the problem with it. The one who is able to conquer these things within one's own lifetime, such a person alone can be happy. What's the point in dying and then realizing, oh, why did I not do this? Kim sadhu na karu, kim pavam na karu. That regret should not be there. That regret won't be there for a person who has conquered all these within the lifetime. And what this is important shloka, it says Labante Brahma Nirvanam Mrish Brahma Nirvanam Rishayah Shina Kalmashaha Chinnadvaida Yatatmana Sarvabhuta Iterata. What do these people do? Having attained Brahma Nirvana, that attained that Brahman Sthiti, that liberation from all these desires and pettiness. Rishihi, these are rishis, means the saints and liberated ones. Shina Kalmasha, all their impurities and sins have been destroyed in this wisdom. The fire of wisdom, everything is gone. You might have done past karmas also, but they also get destroyed. Remember, we in the last lecture we heard that. So Chinnadvaida, all their doubts are dispelled. Yatatmanam, they are completely in control of themselves. Sarva Bhute Hirata. What should they do? Sarva Bhuta Hiterata. They are all ever engaged in the welfare of society, the welfare of all. Those who attain Brahmagyana, those who all their sins and impurities are destroyed, they have no more doubts left whatsoever. And they are continuously in complete control of themselves. They are always engaged in the welfare of the society. So, even if you attain wisdom, what is he telling to Arjuna? Even if you attain jnana, you must act for the sake of the betterment of others. Why do I work? I work for Sarvaloka Hite Rataha. You must learn to work for everybody else's thing. That is what in our Gurukulam I said. 4 principles from Ramayana we have borrowed. Sarva Veda Vidaha Dhiraha Sarva Jnanopa Sampannaha Sarve Samudita Gunahi Sarva Bhuta Loka Hite Rataha Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. Same thing. Rama comes back from his Gurukula. Vashishta tells his father, Dasharatha, your sons are so amazing. They are full of knowledge and wisdom. They know all the Vedas, they know all the Shastra, everything. But most importantly, he tells, they are all were engaged in the betterment and the welfare of others. So that is what I tell students. What do you study? Why do you do all the things? At the end, your goal should be to help the society. What's the use of all your knowledge just for earning money or getting promotions, becoming popular? That is a very, very low level of thinking. It should be for the betterment of the society, welfare of others. Sarva Bhuta Itarata. This is the typical quality of those who have attained Brahmagyana. They are ever engaged in the welfare of others selflessly. So, what is telling Arjuna, even through Karma Yoga, when you purify your mind and attain Brahmagyana, what will you end up doing? Not sitting in a cave in Himalayas. You will be ending up working for the welfare of the society any which ways. So, work. Fight the battle, not for your sake, my sake, for the sake of dharma, for the sake of betterment of the society. Fight this. So this is how it goes on, and from here, slowly, Krishna is leading him to the next phase of upasana. So next chapter is Dhyana Yoga, where Krishna talks about how one should meditate. Remember 3 steps. First is selfless action. Second is meditation. Third is wisdom. Same thing called as work, worship, wisdom. So work part Krishna is teaching. Now slowly he is taking towards the worship. Worship means the meditation part of the Upasana Kanda. So there is 27 and 28 shlokas which says Parshan Kritva Bahir Bahyam Chakshushuh Chaivantare Bhruvoh Prana Panav Samo Kritva Nasa Bhyantar Charino. What does he do, this yogi? He cuts himself away from all the external contacts, closes his external eyes and meditates in between the brow, in between the 2 eyes, in the center of the brow. He meditates. And what prana apano samokrutva, keeping his ingoing and outgoing breath in balance. We call it a vyana state, where you are neither breathing out nor you're breathing in, you're holding your breath. Because that is the moment when your mind becomes absolutely steady. See, in meditation, holding breath is also very important. Slowly breathing is important because it calms down the mind. Watching your breath is important, but holding the breath is a very important aspect because it immediately calms your mind. Breath and mind are connected. If breath is faster, mind is agitated. It happens, excited mind, agitated mind. But when you're calmer, your breathing is slower. And if you don't breathe, mind becomes almost like a without wind, the leaf falls onto the ground. dry leaves. Like that, mind settles very quickly. So this person's whole energy dwells in this nasal region where he controls his breath and controls the mind, thereby by meditating in the middle of the two eyes on the brow area. Yatentriya manobuddhi muni moksha parayana vigate cha bhaya krodho ya sada mukta evasaha. He says this man who is continuously engaged in this effort to control his mind and senses, such a person's mana, mind and buddhi, all these moksha parayana, all this dedicated for the sake of attaining liberation only. He's not using his faculty for any other purpose. He may work for any reason, but ultimately his goal is to attain liberation through action. And vigate cha bhaya krodha. He has given up idea of desires, fear, anger, and all the negativity. Yes, sada mukta evasa. The one who has given up it forever, given it up forever, such a person is free. So slowly, you see Krishna's methodology. Karma Yoga, from there, he's taking him to the Upasana, to the meditative side of things. How does this yogi live? Even while he's going on, moving around, he's meditating always on the middle of the brow, because what it means is his mind is always withdrawn into the Brahman, while his body goes on performing various kind of actions. And he knows what? Bhoktaram yajna tapsam sarvalokam heshwaram sahridam suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shantimarchati. He knows that the enjoyer of all my deeds and the Lord of everything is in the heart of all beings. He is not the enjoyer. He knows that the Lord is the enjoyer who dwells in all the hearts. He is the true enjoyer of all our actions. And gyatva mam shanti mrchati. He immediately attains peace, knowing this. Mundoka, there are two birds there, Dvasuparna Sayuja Sakhaya Samanam Vrukshe Parishasya Jate. There are two birds sitting on the same tree of the same kind. One bird goes on eating fruits, bitter and sweet, and either it's happy or sad. And the other bird simply sits watching everything calm. And then this lower bird thinks, what is this secret of the happiness of the upper bird? Always calm. I am the one who is happy one day, sad another day. And slowly it tries to reach the other bird and realizes there are no two birds. That is the Lord, Isha, Sarva Bhutana. That is the Lord. So once it realizes that I am not this mind, which is the lower bird, I am the Atman, which is the higher bird, then it forgets all its misery. It becomes strong. It becomes strong. It becomes the Lord. It is no more the slave of senses. It becomes the Lord of senses. So that is what he is saying. The one who realizes this, he attains peace immediately, that I am not this body, mind, senses complex. I am the Atman. And that Atman is same in all. And that one enjoys everything. Enjoys in the sense, that is the one for whose sake everything happens. So that is the idea, and then they attain peace immediately. And this is the meditation we'll have to learn in the Dhyana Yoga. Who is the one who is enjoying? Who is within me and within you and within everything? I must meditate on that idea. So slowly Krishna is leading our Arjuna to the next chapter, which is going to be Dhyana Yoga. That is the art of or the science of meditation or upasana. So Arjuna is being prepared for the jnana. But how patient and how good a teacher Krishna is. Arjuna loses patience every now and then. He asks, give me the shortcut, give me the shortcut. And Krishna says, yes, let me teach you, let me finish. And he goes on explaining to him, and how he gives him again and again. He tells him, see, if you get good marks, this is what will happen to you. If you get good marks, that will happen to you. Encourage. If you become a jnani, this will happen to you. If you become jnani, that will happen to you. But how to become a jnani? Fight the battle. But with the right attitude. Because we all can't run away from society into forests. It may appear easy, but actually he says in one of the shlokas, I didn't take up that shloka, but it says that sannyasa is a very difficult path. Running away from society is not easy. Imagine he has nobody to give him breakfast, lunch and dinner. He has nobody to wash, iron or prepare his clothes. He has no roof, no shelter. Falls sick, there is nobody to care and cure him. He has no pockets, no bank account, no savings, no insurance. He's totally dependent on the society at large. And imagine if everybody wants to become monk, what will happen to the society? So Grihastha is also there. You must be householder, but then what kind of householder? Who follows the path of Dharma. Not greedy, only looking after themselves, their children, their family, my. Not that kind of householder. Should have this idea that I must serve the society at large. And then eventually everybody has to become sannyasi, no choice. Jadabharata was there. Bharata was there. He also becomes sannyasi. But at the last moment, as I said, before you leave this earth, you must have developed control over your desires. And this Jada Bharata became sannyasi at the end, but he developed the desire to look after the poor deer. And what happened? He was born as a deer in next birth. So at the last moment also you can go wrong. We must prepare ourselves for this jnana. See, unpreparedly, many young people jump into this monkhood and sannyasa and all that stuff. That's why many of these associations like Ramakrishna Mission, they have very strict rules to accept a monk. And they don't accept for like 5-6 years, they just test and try. After that only they grant him membership. If he survives the 6 years of difficult monk's life, austerity and other things, then only they actually kind of give him a membership of the organization. Otherwise, they don't give. Very important to prepare ourselves. That is preparation. Selfless action is preparation. So why this spirituality? Narendra Modi ji was speaking the other day. He said, what did Satya Sai Baba do? He dissociated spirituality from ritualistic observances and associated it with service. See how he caught that point. All other gurus, many people, they just talk about let's meditate, let's do this, let's do that. They don't talk about selfless service. They talk about some service, but not as selfless, which will wipe every single trace of selfishness from you. That kind of service nobody recommends. Our spirituality is all about selflessness, and that's why service. Because how do we express our selflessness? In doing good to others. So this is the preparation for that higher knowledge. If we don't attain this in this birth is a waste. That's what Shankaracharya will say. It's a wasted birth. Yama will say, Mrityo sa mrityum apnoti. From death, you have gone to another death. Your birth has been a total waste, so I won't even count. Yama. He meets you at one death and then he meets you again in the next death. And you tell him, he will say, hey, you're back again in the same class? He said, yes, I failed. Oh, then you wasted your whole year. That's what happened. Same way, Yama meets you again at the next death. He says, last time I picked you up, no? Again you came back. What did you do? You didn't redeem yourself in this birth. No, I was selfish. I did not do anything. I had no control over mind, desires, senses. Back to death again. So death to death you are coming. Your birth has been a total waste. So I won't even count what you did. But I was also the president, prime minister, whoever. It doesn't matter. All that is not the qualification. That's what I was telling. When we meet the creator at the end, he's not going to ask us how many properties you had, how many children you had, grandchildren you had, how many things you did in the world. He's just going to ask how many people you loved, how many people you served. You did nothing, then you did not. Then everything is a waste. And that is how we must live in the world. Sarva bhuta lidhite rataha. That is the key sentence. We must do everything for the sake of others, for welfare of others. In that others' welfare, our welfare will be looked after. We will be redeemed too because of purification of our mind. So that is the essence of the 5th chapter. More or less, we have come to the concepts of karma yogas are coming to an end. So we have understood karma yoga means performing actions with perfection in it, with the utmost abilities, capacities, no laziness, no slackness. Do it to the best of your ability. And still not demand the results to be of a certain kind. Doing duties in your right, results you have no right on. At the same time, you cannot say that I don't want to perform action because anyway I don't have any rights on the result. No, you have to still perform action. For what sake? For the sake of betterment of welfare of others, like Janaka and others have done. So don't do duty with love. Do love without duty. That is spirituality. Duty with love is good. Love without duty is spirituality. From there he goes on to say that the people who do this, we are all born with certain gunas, and we should follow that path of gunas. And if you are born to be a teacher, be a teacher. If you're born to be a doctor, be a doctor. Through that also you can attain redemption, provided your attitude is right. And you see God in everything, you see equalness in everything. You develop that kind of vision. Don't differentiate, discriminate, don't be selfish. Do everything for the higher good of others. In that goodness, your mind will become pure. Once your mind becomes pure and steady, you will attain that wisdom. Once you become wise, there is no doing, no enjoying. Everything happens through you. You become the witness of all actions. You are untouched, untainted, unbound by any of it. This is the essence of all of Karma Yoga. So we must act in this world, but act in a selfless way. That is the essence. And how beautiful, see all the organizations we have now, 30 foundations, so much we are doing. What does it help you with? It helps you with opportunities to do selfless work. Otherwise, left to yourself, how many of you will work like this selflessly? So these organizations have been created, and I insist that everybody participates in these organizations or any other organization where you find your heart, where you find fulfillment. But the essence is you must do selfless work all the time. So whatever, even if you're eating, sleeping, everything also you should think, I'm doing this so that I can be healthy, I can have a good mind, I can learn new things, and through that I can help others. Everything should ultimately be motivated for the sake of helping others. Even your personal needs should be looked after so that you can help others. If you are sick, unhealthy, how will you help others? If you don't study, how will you help others? So everything should be at the end sarva bhuta hite rataha. Because even the Lord Himself comes down and does the same thing for the sake of the welfare of the world. Otherwise, He has no duty. That is how we have to work. So with that, more or less, the chapter is ending. We'll take up Dhyana Yoga once the chapter shlokas are over. Once again, this is a special session because this comes not from India but from Fiji, and it's a beautiful country, beautiful people, very happy people, always singing, always smiling, and very deeply rooted in their ancient traditional value system. And I think the world needs more and more people like these, good people. We don't need policies, we need no politics. We don't need wars, we don't need sanctions. We just need goodness. More and more of goodness will take care of this world. And all these efforts are just to make us better human beings, good people who can spread this goodness, and the impact of it is infinite. You never know an act of goodness, how impactful it can be. You can only do good and forget, as they say. But that good will inspire somebody and will set in motion a chain reaction of goodness. It will spread to the whole world, and that's how the world will improve. This is our effort. For that, first we have to purify our mind and through selflessness. So that's why Bhagavad Gita is so important to lead our lives in the right way.